Can get really serious.
Okay. Yoga prepares us to die.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Tribeswell Podcast, episode 2. I'm here with Vibe Yoga founder Laura Patterson, who I've worked with and been friends with for many, many years. Laura, tell us about yourself.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm the owner and director of Vibe Yoga Studio, and I'm a mother and a wife and a business owner and just a human being trying to figure it all out through the path of yoga.
Just grooving out in this world, right?
That's how I do.
So there's I've done a little bit of yoga at your studio and a couple other studios. And there's basically kind of 3 different kinds of yoga people that I've observed. Okay. There's the athletic yoga person, or the athletic / dance, they just want to do it to kind of feel their body move. And then there's kind of the health fitness yoga person. And then there's the real seeker yoga person who's all in with yoga. And I think you're all in.
Oh man.
You study Sanskrit, you do it all the way. Tell me about that.
Okay. About the different people, or
about you, about being all in.
About being totally vested in yoga.
Totally, no way out, vested in yoga.
All
you
right.
are in.
I'm in. I'm committed. I tried it on. I like it. It feels good. I'm wearing it. Yoga feels to me like it is just that. It might from the outside look like there are categories of people who are practicing for certain reasons, but I think that as soon as people drop into the practice and maybe they do it for a week, or maybe they do it for a month, or maybe it just starts to become part of their repertoire, and then they realize all of a sudden that this is how they're living, that people find something in yoga that makes them feel like they can continue a practice, and they don't have to find perfection, and they don't have to fit into a box, or they don't have to be this type of yogi or that type of yogi.
So you're saying there's not 3 different
No,
kinds?
there's more than 3.
There's more than 3?
There's 7 billion
oh my gosh.
types of yogis, and I think that's why I was drawn to the practice, is that there can be so many different elements to it, and it can be something that feels good and fits for some people, not for everybody, but yeah.
What is the deal with, it seems like when you first started doing yoga, which was around the first time I had heard of young people doing yoga, because my grandmother did yoga back since the 70s. Yeah. So I thought it was just for old people, and retired people did yoga at the Y or something. I didn't know that it was really, really old and spiritual and but it seems like now you go on Instagram, and maybe I'm a little bit biased because I'm friends with you and I'm friends with but I'm friends with a lot of people that I don't even know through you. Mm-hmm. They're just yoga fanatics. What is it about the world today with all this craziness that people just go to yoga to find the answer?
Well, that's a really complex question for a 15-minute podcast, but I'll do my best. I think, when you incorporate what people are searching for this day and age, where we see that everyone is connected with the internet, with podcasts, with Instagram, with social media, that we get this noise of yoga. We get this sensation that it is everywhere, and it might look a certain way, or it might be broadcast a certain way. But when you get down to the human being element, everybody's just looking for a practice. And a practice is something where it's you don't have to perfect it. It can be fun. You can fail to figure out where you want to go through trial and repetition, and then saying okay, yoga gives me this foundation, this practice to work. And it's so applicable to so many people, I think, because it's an approach that's open. It's open for you to be exactly where you are, and to take the basic foundation of principles to say, okay, how is my physical body, how's my energy body, how's my mind doing, how is my intellect, and what I've learned through this self-study. And we're all searching for that idea of a little bit more bliss.
Mm-hmm.
in life. So people want a piece of that, and people want to figure out how that might look for them individually.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But so on episode 1, I think there's going to be something that goes crazy on every podcast. Episode 1, it was sweating because I accidentally did it in too hot of an area. I started sweating. Episode 2 is going to be like background kids screaming because our boys, boys are. You're totally going to hear it on the podcast, and our boys are like in the middle of a war zone with each other. They're best friends, but they're like bro frenemies.
Yeah, a little frenemy action.
You may get a little background noise, but that's okay. We don't need to.
Hey, we can try to cultivate calm, but the world will still exist as it is. Kids will still be crazy. So, yeah.
So where did how old is yoga? Like what? And how did people keep doing yoga? Like it's like this. And how long has it been athletic? I guess because I feel like. From my brief study of it, there's so much spiritual part of it, so much athletic part of it, and then there's like the mixture of that.
Yeah. So, how yoga looks today is very different from how yoga looked, or how we read about yoga in the Upanishads or the ancient texts, where it's a different culture, it's a different time, it's a different mentality for what yoga is. And you've already mentioned, types of yoga and Instagram and all of this information we get about yoga, and it's like none of this existed. There was just the practice, and the practice didn't look physical at all. The physical in the beginning might have been to help prepare or unwind out of a meditation. And what we see with the history of yoga is just it kind of evolved into this modern form, and what you see in different lineages is that looks a little bit differently, but as Americans we kind of have gravitated towards that physical practice because it's familiar to us. So that's kind of the on-ramp, which is all good. People can come on to yoga any way. It can be meditation or breath or children forcing them to come to a class because they just need some silence. But yeah, we're just kind of drawn to the physical, and what people see is the physical because that's what we experience. We experience our physical bodies. We want to feel good. We want to look good. And for many, that's how they get into yoga.
What about, so what I've been into a lot is healthy. I feel like people are so into healthy eating now and like eating pure food. And it's like, like 1 week I'm not going to eat any dairy, and then the next week I've decided I'm not going to eat any carbs, and then do you have a food philosophy?
Food philosophy
on what to eat and what not to eat?
Yeah, if you look at yoga, there's some guidelines, and if you want to really water it down and really simplify it, it's like eat in balance. I once had a teacher who said dirty, mostly clean. So you allow yourself to have a beer, but you eat mostly clean. You allow yourself to live in this world, but you're also mindful of it. So if you want to be broad, I would say work towards balance. But if you get into yoga and the sister science of Ayurveda, there's some really specific guidelines that can help each individual for what it would help them best find balance based on their doshas. We talked a little bit about that. Yeah, we argued a little bit about Colin's pitta.
Or lack thereof, if you will. My features don't really look like a pitta.
There's so much.
I'm just adapted, I guess.
Take another quiz.
I will. You can rig the quiz for me to make sure.
Yeah, I'm going to send you to Kristen, and we'll get the real answer.
Okay. So you just opened up. So you started with 1 or 2 studios. Did you just?
So when I started, I was teaching above Roots downtown, and I was renting out a space called Blooming Lotus, and all sorts of teachers, or they had some drumming classes, some African dance classes. You could rent out the space and promote your class and just teach that way. And then in 2008, I don't know. I think it's 2008.
In the 2000s.
Yeah, in the 2000s.
Mid to late 2000s.
We moved to the current location, and there were really 3 studios in the main building. Not everybody knows that.
Oh yeah, because you knocked a wall down.
Yeah, we ended up, we outgrew what was the Earth studio, and then we turned Earth into water.
Yes, yeah. Which was, we all know is mud.
Yeah.
Is that the studio that flooded recently?
Studio. No, there was no flood.
I thought you had a flood or something.
No,
maybe that was just my house.
Upgraded the floors. Yeah.
Knock on earth.
Knock on earth. And a little bit of wood. Yeah. So now we have the water studio, the fire studio in the main building, and we have the earth studio across the street, and then we've just recently added the air studio.
Yes, you did. So the fire studio obviously is the hot studio. Do you have themes for kind of the other ones?
Yeah.
Is there certain types of classes you do in certain?
Definitely. So in the water studio, we have cooler classes. We have the classes that are not going to be as physically hot from the outside, but it's ironic that it's called the water studio because people sweat so much more than they anticipate after coming from the hot class, and it's appropriately named. Like, you have to be really careful when you exit because the condensation and just the humidity of people moving. But those are classes that will generally be a little more cooling than the fire. And then in the earth studio is where we do our teacher training, so people really get grounded into seeing how much this practice can really offer. We do a 200-hour training, a 500-hour training, a hot fusion, and a sculpt training, and we do most of our trainings out of there. And then the air studio will be this new integration of programming where people want to get our data therapies or are looking for those classes and programs that will help them integrate it into their life. Like, what do I eat, and what yoga is right for me, and how do I navigate through all these styles and all this history into what's going to resonate in my life right now. Mm-hmm. And then we have this space. Then we go out for custom classes.
Then you go out into the world.
Into the world and share yoga.
All right. Well, that's awesome. So, Tilly had a great question queued up, and I totally forgot what it was going to be. Oh, I was going to say, this is the Tribeswell Podcast, which is loosely affiliated with the Tribeswell Company, which, of course, you worked with us on lots of different things. And but I didn't want to spend too much time on the podcast talking about specifically internet marketing, internet websites, whatever. But I would be remiss to not ask you what you thought were kind of some keys to success, just because you've done it, I think, so well. What is your key? Like, how much does the web play a role in running your business?
Well, it's fascinating. Well, the first thing I would say is, one, before I forget, I need you to come in and take some more photos for us. Two, your photos are awesome. But two, it is having the support of a website development team where you can bounce ideas off of someone who has the experience. I want to run my business because that's what I'm passionate about, but I don't have time to learn these policies and learn all the stuff. It's really reaching out to people like you to say, how do I do this? How can I do this better? But what's worked well for us with the support of your company and the support of just looking at how things have changed is that third element is that constant change is coming. And since I've opened, we've gone from like a paper schedule and a paper sign-in book to apps for our studio, to social media on all accounts, to online booking and people reserving spaces where it's just changing. So that support is totally needed. And I would say staying current with the times and seeing what's out there by staying connected with people such as Tribeswell has really helped us.
Well, it's like you said before we turned the camera on, like you can go to Kroger now. Well, we shouldn't tell people about this because it's already really busy.
Awesome.
You could like go on an app on Kroger. You can do all your groceries, like just stop by. Then you like go get your Starbucks from your Starbucks app. You never have to wait in line again. You just pop by the yoga studio. You're already checked in when you get there, and it's like magic.
It's crazy.
It's like magic world.
Our kids, when they're not like screaming downstairs, they're gonna be like, "Remember the olden days when you bought your own groceries?"
I called and ordered a pizza once.
What's a telephone? Times are changing.
Oh my gosh, it's been so great having you here. Which is your own house? I
So great.
This is Laura's personal studio. Do you have a name for this studio?
Well, my son calls it like the yoga room.
The yoga room.
We're in the yoga room.
The yoga room.
This is the yoga room. It's ironic having your own studio or your own website company. You realize your garage is where you spend most of your time working, and my yoga room is where I spend most of my time working because
that's what it should be.
We're just behind the scenes making it all happen.
All right, cool. Well, quick plug. If you want to see me play with my band, the Pissed Off Catfish, this weekend we're playing at Beer Brewery in Indianapolis. Saturday, 7 p.m. Beer Brewery's on kind of the northeast side, sort of. So come one, come all. Laura, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Guest number 2.
What? Why was it not number 1?
Because I just wanted to make sure that we would get through number 1 and that we're wasting any time.
All right, thank you.
You can come on episode number 101. We'll get everybody back for.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing you then, and maybe before then.
Maybe before then. Maybe. All right. Thank you, everybody.